videos. Okay, so I'm live on YouTube and I am about to pop in on Facebook and we can get this party started, okay? All right, can somebody hop over? Excuse me. Can somebody hop over so I know that y'all can hear me before I get started with all my hooping and hollering. Y'all know I'm like, I do not hoop or holler. I don't know what it is, but when I start to teach or even when I preach, the Lord just like puts a calm over me. I be pretty chill. Like it's more lecture style. And so I don't know. But also I'm not a fan of all the theatrics. Just teach me so I can take my notes and get what I need to get from the Lord. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Can you hear me okay? Actually, let me mute the call real quick. Yes, ma'am, you're good. Okay. And good morning, good morning, good morning. Can you hear me online? Jazzy, I saw you. Can you hear me okay? Grab something to drink because I am so thirsty, y'all. It's day 2 of the fast. And so, water, right? And I have been doing, okay, perfect. Since we are day 2 in the fast, I have been doing intermittent fasting anyway. And so I'm just trying to like close my window of time that I eat, so I'm not snacking all day, that sort of thing. So coming into the fast is like, all right, bet, let's do this thing. I have been drinking way more water, and I sometimes will have like, oh, period, okay? Come on, fasted cardio. After this, I'm going to the gym. I'm teaching a class. It'll be just like, what do you call it? On my intermittent fast days, it'll be just tea, like lemon tea or green tea with no sweetener, no sugar, no nothing. So those are the things that gets me through the day. Yeah, pray for me. This is my first class. I'm like so nervous. Y'all know I love behind the scenes stuff, and the Lord is so funny. He just keep on making me do things in front of people. I'm just like, I am the helper of the people that do the things in the front. Minister Tiffany, I am you. And so I'm cracking up because when you say you like to hide and you like to do all the things, I think that's just the gift of administration. Like because we have the gift of administration, it is a prophetic gift too. And so, yes, order, bringing things into order, seeing how they need to be organizing. Like, it's easy for anyone administratively to become like an executive assistant, and it's easy for them to become like a project manager and that sort of thing, right? Because we like to keep the things organized, we like to wrangle the people. And so, those people don't typically get the credit, even though they do a lot of the work to make sure that the thing gets done. I am okay with that, okay? I'm not a girl that is like looking for credit and that sort of thing. But dancing is so much fun to me. It takes me back to my military days, y'all, when I was in the Navy. And I am just a group fitness girly through and through because exercising is not fun. I need it to feel like fun, just like work needs to feel like fun. Because I don't necessarily always want to be there, so that needs to feel like fun. The same thing with exercising. It needs to feel like fun because, baby, I don't do this. I don't want to do this. So let's make it fun. And so, like, my target audience is people that wouldn't want to exercise. Like, let's figure out a way to make this fun. And let's do this together. And I think that is the thing that makes me be like, yeah, you absolutely can do this because the professionals that you see do it, they know what they're talking about, but they are either like too forceful or it's just like that one person, they focus on that one person's group mentality, baby. And so I am going to have digital classes really soon. I just want to kind of like, I'll call it drill down. I kind of want to just drill down on the routines a little bit more to make sure that they're clean for recording. And then I'll have the link is in on YouTube. No, the link is on Instagram on the Cinnamon Sugar page because that's really the health and wellness hub. And then it's on Ask TPJ because, hello, I'm the person doing the things. So the link is there so you can see where the classes are. But I will let y'all know when there are actual online classes. And then I've been thinking about doing Zoom to do some classes too. All right. Now, what we here for? The business. Let's get to the business. Day 2 of the fast just got me talking. You know, you get the yapping because we ain't eating. So, so it'll be fasted cardio for me today. And and then I'm gonna drink some water after this. But welcome. We're on day 2 of the fast. We are every Sunday morning on Manna, so we're gonna, all right, we're gonna leave the fast stuff alone. Welcome. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Hey, y'all. That's why I like to say hey because it just depends on the time. I'll be fine. You don't have to worry about messing up the time frames. But hey, y'all. My name is Trisha J. I am so happy. Oh my gosh! Listen, I usually eat sleep for the fast. Not gonna lie, I'm especially now that I'm staying up later and I'm doing more physical work. Baby, I'll be eating sleep for that first meal and I regret it later on. So the fact that we can't eat to this evening, you are in good company. You are not alone. My name is Trisha J. I am co-leader of True Seekers Assembly. We are a fasting and praying church. Again, we've been talking and yapping. We're on day 2 of our fast. We fast the first 3 days of every month. We give God the first fruit of our lives. We're giving Him the month of March. Here you are. Please make March be good to us because, baby, we've seen some things, okay? These months been monthing lately, and this year is moving by fast. We're in the last month of quarter 1. Tell me that's not wild. Tell me that's not wild, okay? We're in the last month of quarter 1. That's crazy. But yeah, we're fasting and praying church ministry. We are your vitamin E church, okay? So if you watch our videos, great. I love that for you. I love that you are getting some spiritual sustenance. We purposely don't have a building, okay? There are enough buildings in the world. We just want to make sure you get the word. But you should be assembling. You should be gathering with people. I want to see you with the people. You need to build community where you are. Okay. Everybody isn't in Michigan. Everybody isn't in, we're all in the Detroit metro area, but everybody isn't where I am in Michigan. And so you need to have community where you are. Very important. Okay. I cannot stress that enough. And I know some of y'all be like, I'm here. I'm doing the things, and I get it. Yes, and please, until you can find a church, do all of the things. Okay, but this is supplemental. Okay, but we've been walking through the book of John. We've been walking. I'm walking. I'm walking. I'm walking. I'm walking. I'm walking. I'm walking. We've been walking, baby, because I read John about 15 times, and we're still just in chapter 8. Okay, this is not a rush. Okay, this is not a rush. I want to make sure that we are raising our spiritual intelligence. Okay, we have to make sure that we're getting what the Lord needs us to get. Ultimately, we need to see, right, that we are getting true discernment. We see the Lord for who He truly is, okay? And so that will help us to raise our spiritual antennas. Remember when Cat Williams said, where was your antennas? Yeah, it's going to be a lot of instances where if you are not spiritually in tune, the righteous remnant will be like, where was your antennas? Like, how did you miss that? Because that means you need to raise your level of spiritual awareness, okay? So today we are going to wrap up the book of John, chapter 8. We're going to wrap up chapter 8. And then next week, we will jump into the 6th miracle, okay? All right. So y'all know this is a year. 2025 is the year of behold. Our foundational scripture for this year is Isaiah 43, verse 19. Behold, I'm doing a new thing. Shall you not perceive it? Where are your spiritual antennas? I'm making ways in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. That is what we're going to see. The Lord is dealing with us prophetically. He's dealing with the eyes. He's dealing with what we see. He's dealing with our spiritual intelligence in this season. And so I can't stress enough that you need to be in the secret place. You need to be in the secret place. You need to be in the secret place. When you're in the secret place, when those knees are on the ground and your head is above in the clouds, you're letting the Lord spiritually protect you. You're able to hide underneath the shadow of his wings. That's the sweet spot for us this year, okay? Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. You just keep your head looking to the Lord, okay? Don't be worried about everything on Twitter. Don't be worried about everything on Meta, YouTube, wherever. Don't worry about everything that's on Fox News. Don't worry about everything that's on CNN. Like, don't do it. You have to make sure you are focused. This is a year that you need to make sure that your spiritual antennas they raise, baby, okay? All right, so I think I've said all of the things. Let's jump in right where we left off. We are going to start off. I feel like we read. Did we read? I feel like we read verses 30. We talked about the truth making you free. I feel like we read that. Am I tripping? I'm talking about verse 30. I feel like we read, but I also read this 15 times, so don't make me go over it again. I mean, I will. Y'all know I will. But did I? Did I, y'all, real quick before I just jump in here? Because I feel like I really did talk about the truth will make you free last week. Did I not talk about the truth making you free? I don't know. It looked like y'all don't know either, so let's just start there. Okay? Um, verse 30. As he was saying these things, many believed in him. Then Jesus said to the Jews who had believed him, if you continue in my word, you really are my disciples. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Okay? This is where we are. New Testament, the Lord, after Jesus ascended, he said, make more disciples. Okay, you go across all of the earth and make more disciples. And so, in being a disciple, if we really are his disciples, we know that we'll know the truth because Jesus is the truth. We learn that in John 1. Okay, because the word is the truth. Jesus is the word. And so, the truth will set you free. Jesus came to set all of the captives free. We don't even realize that we be captive sometimes. We don't realize that we're slaves to our sin or we're slaves to our family situations like the generational curses and that sort of thing because we aren't in the truth. This is why it's important to read the word, even when you feel like, I don't feel like it, or I'm in my sin. No, that's when you really dig in, okay? Like the truth sets you free. Jesus sets you free, okay? Verse 33, we are descendants of Abraham. They answered him, and we've never been enslaved to anyone. How can you say you will become free? Jesus responded, truly I tell you, everyone who commits sin is a slave of sin. Clock that T, okay? A slave does not remain in the household forever, but a son does remain forever. So if the son sets you free, you really will be free. I know you are descendants of Abraham, but you are trying to kill me because my word has no place among you. We absolutely read this last time. I speak what I have seen in the presence of the Father. So then, what have you heard from your father? And they say, our father is Abraham. And he said, the lies you tell because Abraham absolutely knew me. Abraham was waiting on the physical manifestation of this promise. Abraham would not be acting like I acting, okay? So this is just a quick recap because we absolutely read this last week. Because I remember talking about this. And so verse 39, it says, our father is Abraham, they replied. If you were Abraham's children, Jesus told them, you would do what Abraham did. But now you are trying to kill me, a man who has told the truth that I heard from God. Abraham did not do this. You're doing what your father does. We weren't born of sexual immorality, they say, because remember, they were throwing shade at him because Joseph is his stepdaddy. But he had to be born from Abba Father, right? He had to be born from Abba Father for this purpose. We talked about this last week. And so they think that because they had a legitimate birth, and Jesus did too, but they had an earthly, birth that was legit. I don't remember the word I just said because my brain. Um, Legitimate. There we go. There's this social class situation happening here, so they're like, we're better than you because we know who our daddy is. Our daddy is from Abraham, that sort of thing. But he starts to talk about their character, and I think maybe that's a good call out, talking about Satan's character, because how many people go to church? There's so many witches and warlocks and demons that go to church, like they know the truth, right? I'm not going to say the person's name, but if you were on the call, we just talked about them. They're from South Africa. And what do they say? Like when you watch videos, they say a lot of the right things. They don't just outright say, I believe in Jesus, because we know that they don't. Because remember, where are your spiritual antennas? They say, this is what they say: I believe in some of the principles of Jesus, or I believe in the principles of Jesus. I believe in the teachings of Jesus. And then they always go to turn the other cheek. Okay? Because if we wouldn't turn the other cheek, if we wouldn't operate in the principle of forgiveness, then there would just be complete chaos in the world. That's the one that they always lean into. That person has 14 kids by like 5 different baby mamas. We don't believe in the principles of Jesus. At least we're not operating in them, okay? And that's not to be shady, because God is definitely with this person right now, okay? But it's just to lay out the truth, because so many people will know the truth. They'll know that it is the truth, right? Demons recognize the truth. They're able to quote scripture. They will tell you, yeah, I believe in it. Everybody believes, but they're not acting. They're not doing the thing. And so you can believe the truth and still be like, yeah, but I'm gonna do what I want to do. And that is what we're seeing here. And so he's calling that out. And so I'm just want to jump to verse 44, because we absolutely read this last time. You are of your father the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. He tells a lie. So we just heard several things about Satan. Satan is a liar. Okay, the truth is not in him. He has children. Okay, he tells lies because hello, he's speaking from his own nature. And so we were just in Galatians for Bible study, and what was that saying? Like, you have to test the people that are reading the word, which is why I'm not. If they're not giving you key scriptures and literally walking through the scriptures, it's a motivational speech. Okay, that is not a sermon. And we've made a lot of people with mega churches popular because they give motivational speeches. Why? Because it makes you feel good. And so we get caught up in the sensationalism. Marketing is has a huge facet of psychology, so they play on psychology. They play on you not being a disciple one, not being disciplined, wanting to feel something, which is why I'm very hard pressed to make sure that you won't get this one tone. This is a lecture. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to tell you the truth. And hopefully it will convict your heart and turn you to God and turn you away from your sin, and you go off and do the thing that you're supposed to do. I, holding the office of prophet, it's my assignment, mine personally, not all prophets, but it's my assignment, my personal assignment, to be a mirror. I reflect you. Okay, I show you things and you see them and you either like it and you be like, yes, the Lord is doing what he needs to do in me. Praise God. Or you be like, ooh, I probably need to work on that. Praise God. Thank you for loving me enough to show me that, Lord, that you are, hello, he corrects those whom he loves. So thank you for showing me and help me get to the steps to, fix this thing. Help me to pivot. Okay. So he's telling you these things. He says, if I am telling the truth, why don't you believe me? The one who is from God listens to God's words. This is why you don't listen, because you're not from God. And so there are a lot of people who are in church right now, a lot of them. And we are basically modern day Jews. We are here for the sake of tradition. We have a lot of gifts in church, but we don't see a lot of moves of God because we're not leaning into who our Father. Well, we leaning into who the Father is, but it ain't the right one. I'll tell you that. Okay, and so when you get into a lot of religious practice is like super religious. That religious has a bad, but they call it religiosity. I call them super saints. When you get to the super saints, that's hard pressed about following the rules and that sort of thing. That is a hardening of the heart that you are witnessing. And so when it is, the mean ushers. You're part of the hospitality crew. If you were at a hospital or if you were at a hotel, hospitality is no. That's what keeps people coming back. So you being mean about a seat or not greeting this person, we probably should reconsider that. You probably need to find another ministry, okay? Because only place people need to make sure that they're not going is the pulpit, order. Gotta have order in the house, that sort of thing. But even when there are certain rules that your pastor, your bishop, your apostles asking you to enforce, there's still a way to do it and be gracious. But when you just get caught up on the rules for the sake of the rules, probably want to check that. Okay, let's jump into the new text for today. We are going to hop right on to verse 48. Okay, all right, verse 48. The Jews responded to him, "Aren't we right in saying that you're a Samaritan and have a demon?" What? Because remember, I just told you, grace, understanding, helping people and talking to the person, right? Okay, so like I work in a fintech company, okay? And so, hello, with that, you deal with a lot of people. And so, yes, we do have rules, right? We have rules in place. There was this instance where this client was having an issue and we're following the rules, right? We're following the rules and the client is not happy with the experience. They're not happy with the experience, so much so that they emailed the CEO of the company. So, hello, what is the CEO going to do? Protect our brand. I need to make sure that we're giving this client a good experience because I want this client to stay. I want this client to tell their friends and family that we took care of them so that way they can bring more business this way. We need to make this right. They're going back and forth with this team member that is solving the problem, right? And so the team member's like, but these are the rules, and so the CEO is like, you're missing the point. I need you to put the rules aside right now. What is right for this client right here? I need you to do what's right for them right now because our brand is on the line. Our reputation is on the line. And ultimately, it's just not a good experience. Like every time that you push the rules on them, they are emailing me again. And I mean, I'm just going to say it. The CEO really don't have time to be emailing clients back and forth. They barely had time to get back to us that work on the team with them. So, fix this problem is really what they're saying. How many of us miss it because we just got to be right? And this is why I hate arguing. This is why I'm not a fan of debating. I would love for you to see where I'm coming from. But if you are just listening to get to, your part of the argument, you want to make sure that you're right, I'm over it. I'm not doing that because you're not trying to understand. You're not trying to find common ground. You're not trying to resolve the issue. You just want to be right. And that's where a lot of people are. They just want to be right. And so we're seeing this in the text of Jews just want to be right because who is this? We don't think he had a legitimate birth. We know Joseph wasn't his daddy. Joseph was clowning at that baby shower, okay? He ain't want to be in them pictures. God, you come down here and get these pictures. This ain't my baby. He was ready to divorce that girl, okay? He was not happy for quite a while. Like God had to get him together. And so I'm sure there were some rumblings about it because Joseph was not happy in the beginning. And so it's going to, you know, talk about his reputation. Even though he was perfect, he knew no sin. People will talk about you. Let them talk. Most people aren't happy anyway. Just saying. So when they're miserable, they try to make your life miserable. And so he's like, a demon? I don't have a demon. Um, but I also want to call out real quick because they tried to say like we're from Abraham, we have a legitimate birth, you have an illegitimate birth. Um, Bastards, illegitimate children were not like approved of. Okay, usually it required death for blasphemy. Okay, they were not approved of, and so him saying that he was having a legitimate birth and coming from our Father and those sort of things in their mind, oh, that's blasphemy. You gotta die. You gotta die because you can't say that. We can't prove it physically because their spiritual antennas aren't up. They're not doing what they need to do. We can't prove this. We know who your fake daddy is. You're not legitimate. So you saying that's blasphemy. This requires death by our Mosaic laws. You gotta die. But they already want him to die anyway, right? They're looking for a way to kill him. He says, I do not have a demon. On the contrary, I honor my Father, and you dishonor me. I do not seek my own glory. There is one who seeks it and judges. This is where we get to talk about the judging. Verse 51. Truly I tell you, if anyone keeps my word, he will never see death. Then the Jews said, now we know you have a demon. Now we know you're being blasphemous, okay? Now we know you not who you say you are. Abraham died, and so did the prophets, you say. If anyone keeps my word, he will never taste death. Are you greater than our father Abraham who died and the prophets who died, who you claim to be? And this response is everything because he's not one to toot his own horn, okay? He says, if I glorify myself, Jesus answered, my glory is nothing. My Father, about whom you say he is our God, he is the one who glorifies me. Okay? He is the one who glorifies me. He is the one who does the promoting. He is the one who does the elevating. He is the one that sheds light on you. And so I just want to stick a pin there because God is the one who elevates you. God is the one who glorifies, and does the things. And so if you're not getting the shine that you think you should be, I just wanna here, consider this. Consider this. Maybe he's hiding you. He is hiding you to protect you. I'm telling you, I've been telling everybody, it's been 7 years since our bishop passed. And that changed the church. I had already left. But I knew it was going to rock the faith of a lot of people. And a lot of people fell away from church. Like, just didn't want to go. Too messy. It was a whole mess, a whole debacle. And basically, they just tried to have this appearance of perfection. And nobody's perfect but Jesus. Okay? And so there was not grace shown when people were falling and doing the things. You see people get set down, but you never saw anybody get restored. Those sort of things. And so I just been telling everybody, it's time to come back to church. Time to get back into church. You have to make sure that you are doing these things. Why? It's so important to get into the fold of community. Okay, you can't get to a space to where you're glorifying yourself. You have to make sure that you are in community. Okay, and so you have to make sure that you are who you're claiming to be. And I'm saying all that to say it's just one of those seasons where you got to get back home. You got to come back home. And this is why I am very intentional about still showing my personality. You see personality in the Bible. I hate when they try to make it seem like every woman is supposed to be meek and talking all lie. Girl, you lying. You do not talk like that. I seen you off the cameras. I know that you don't talk like that. I know for a fact that you don't. Okay, I know you don't. Just be yourself. God made you this way. Unapologetically. Be unapologetically you because God isn't sorry that he made you this way. You don't have to have the appearance of perfection. Should you be mature? Absolutely. But you don't have to have the appearance of perfection. Stop that, okay? You see temperaments in the Bible. Jesus was in church flipping over tables, okay? He was mad. You seen people be mad. We have prophets that had kids killed for calling him a bald head. Bald head, bald head, you got a bald head. He literally sent some animals to go and kill them kids, okay? You get some personality. And guess what? He was still God's person, still God's man. Um, you see temperaments is my point. And so we don't all have to just act this one way. And that caused a lot of people to fall, because once the veil was lifted and all of the perfection that they thought was there was, we see it actually was not. And that boom, nobody going to church no more. So we got to stop that, okay? Boop, 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 boop. He says, my Father, about whom you say, he is our God, he is the one who glorifies me. You do not know him, but I know him. If I were to say I don't know him, I would be a liar like you. Jesus, not you calling him out like this, because that is wild, okay? I mean, I love it because I'm a truth teller, but I'm not lying. Y'all lying. They be a liar like you. It's the truth. This is how kids talk. You know, you be like, you don't have to say that. And they be like, but it's the truth. Jesus is going in, okay? He says, but I know him, and I keep his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day. He saw it and was glad. The Jews replied, you aren't 50 years old yet. Remember, Jesus is like 33, okay? And you haven't seen, he said, no, they said, you aren't 50 years old yet, and you've seen Abraham? The calculations is not calculating right, because you're 30. You're 33. You would have at least needed to be 50 years, is pretty much what. How did you see that? You're not even 50. How would you see Abraham? How did you know? I thought that was funny. I'm telling you, these stories in the Bible, they better than some of them books you be reading. I'm telling you. And I read books. Y'all know I be reading the books, okay? Just saying. Some good stories here. So I love that he's telling them, y'all not on the same spiritual frequency as me, okay? Truly, I tell you this. But here's the thing, even with the 50 years, because Abraham has been dead for like 800. Abraham's been dead for like 800 years. And y'all just talking about, you're not even 50, but you see Abraham? Even still, we know what they're saying is the calculations are not calculated. Like, how could you have, known Abraham? How could you have seen Abraham? But he is basically calling out that he's equal. Jesus is equal to God. And this is why we call it part of the Godhead: Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Some people call it the Trinity. It is the Godhead, okay? But Jesus persisted before he ever he pre-existed before he ever had a human body, which is why we reference John 1. And the crazy thing is, in John 1, they start at the end. They say, in the beginning, and then they go on, they progress, but they start with the end in mind, which is why you see the chapters back to back in Genesis pretty much sound a lot alike, because Jesus and God is speaking to things, let there be, right? And then you see the things actually manifest and happen. Creation, Genesis creation is wild, okay? But Jesus pre-existed before he ever had a human body. So let's go to this last scripture, and we're done with John chapter 8. I want to take you to Genesis chapter 18, okay? We're going to roll all the way back to Genesis chapter 18, and we're going to go to verse 1, and this is why it's important. Abraham had 3 visitors, okay? Verse 1, the Lord appeared to Abraham at the oaks of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance of his tent during the heat of the day. The Lord, in all caps, is usually a telltale sign that that's Jesus. Okay, so he met him here at his tent, and Abraham recognized this. He saw them, and he ran from the entrance of the tent to meet them. He bowed to the ground, and he said, my Lord, if I have found favor with you, please do not go on past your servant. Let a little water be brought that you may wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree. I will bring a little bit of bread so that way you may strengthen yourselves. This is why you have passed your servant's way. Later, you can continue on. So, yes, they replied, of course, right? We'll do as you have said. And Abraham hurried into the tent and said to Sarah, quick, knead the measures of fine flour and make bread. Abraham ran to the herd, got a tender, choice calf. He gave it to the young man who hurried to prepare it. Abraham took the curds of milk as well as the calf he prepared and set them before the men. He served them as they ate under the tree. Now, this is the time where Sarah is getting ready to laugh because she doesn't believe she's going to have this baby. Jesus is there. So, Jesus is referencing that he's there when we go back to John chapter 8. He says, I know him. I know Abraham. I've talked with Abraham. I've sat with Abraham. But Jesus, as what we call it in theology, is this is a Christophany. If you take a theology class, this is a Christophany. Christophany, okay? And so he's like, see, this how I know your spiritual antennas ain't where they need to be because I already met him 800 years ago. Actually, I was there. Met him, okay? Um, but yeah, this is why it's important to study the Bible too, because the Lord in all caps is different from lowercase Lord. Like, you know, when you talk about kings and that sort of thing, or back in the day, if you watch like Game of Thrones or something, I'm sorry, I don't have a better reference, but you know, it would be like, my Lord. That would be your lowercase, Lord. And then there's just one capital Lord, capital L, lowercase ORD. You know, that's when we get to talking about God. But the all caps, that's Jesus. And the Lord there is all caps. LORD, all caps. Okay, we yelling in that thing. So I love that he is automatically thinking, I already met with Jesus. Like, what are you talking about? Jesus. I already met with Abraham. What are you talking about? And if you read the Bible and you really like are able to go back and forth, this is why when you study, you shouldn't just be in John 8. You should be in Genesis. You should be in Revelations. You should be in different books to put the pieces of the story together. This is why it's very, very important to study. But I just thought that that was really, really cool because not y'all trying to call him a Samaritan. We know Jesus ain't rolling like that. No, he is not one of your enemies. You want him to be so bad because he irritates you. But the fact that they say he had a demon, and then I love that he denied, being possessed with a demon. I I will go back to the point of some people are just committed to misunderstanding you, and so as he is reasoning that Abraham and the prophets had died, and he knew them, and he knew of their character, uh, you know, they're like, how can anybody give us a promise that will never taste death? These people are dead. They're no longer here. And how did you know that when you're only 33? They're just not getting it. Um, so I just always like to call that part out because it is my Father who glorifies me, of whom you say he is our God. And you don't even know him. You don't even know him. When I read that, it made me think he doesn't even go here. Sorry, I'm a Mean Girls fan, like love Mean Girls, but that's what it made me think. So I just wanted to make sure that we call that out. Next week we are going to be in chapter 9, and it's going to be good. We get back to another miracle. But I hope that this is encouraging you to read your Bible a little bit more and with a little bit more intention. Because sometimes when you don't understand the things, you probably just need to go back to, the Old Testament. And so we're reading the Bible recap. The Bible recap, every January I start a Bible plan. We're reading the Bible recap so we can read the Bible 365 days out of the year on the Bible app. And so right now we are in the book of Numbers. And so we started in Genesis, we made it to Exodus and Job. Job is absolutely first, right? And I love how they're putting the pieces together, and we're reading in chronological order this time. I love how they're putting the pieces together, and so in Numbers, I just found out Moses wrote a psalm, y'all. Okay, and I'm sure I've read that a million times, like a psalm written from Moses. But the fact that you see it in Numbers, and then you see the psalm that is literally responding to that instance is it puts the pieces together. And so you'll see a lot of that in the New Testament as well. So this is why I encourage you to do those small little studies, because then it'll help you get the breadcrumbs and figure out the big picture with those questions that you have. And then sometimes it's just a matter of praying. You might be studying something totally different and then pick up a breadcrumb like, that's why this is this way. Oh, Jesus, I remember when you said this. So read your word. Read your word. I hope that this blessed you. What I didn't say was if you're watching live, go ahead and type in live. If you're watching replay, go ahead and type in replay. When I did my whole little 10-minute spiel earlier. But we'll be back on later on tonight because it's day 2. So I'll be on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will get this party started for day 2 of our first fruit fast. And then we'll be on again on tomorrow night because my schedule's just been crazy. I haven't even been able to do it the day before. Wild times. Um, and then Thursday, Minister Tiffany will be doing Bible and Balance on Facebook Live. And then on Saturday, we will be doing Galatians chapter 2. So you got the whole spill of the week. I pray that this blessed you. If it did, please share with 3 friends. And I will see y'all later on tonight. Y'all be blessed. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye.